Today, we are talking about capital, how it's allocated, who is shaping it, and what it takes to operate at that level globally.
I'm not emotionally tied to any one company. What I am tied to is first the financials and product market fit.
An investor with over 50 investments across the last 17 years in AI and human robotics.
I see a huge army of humanoid robots taking over. To be honest, I think everybody wants a humanoid robot in their house. I want to represent at least 40% of capital that's being invested and managed. I really think that's a goal.
The quality of the people in the room defines the value of the conversations. Today, we are talking about capital, how it's allocated, who is shaping it, and what it takes to operate at that level globally. My name is Julia Titova. I'm a global business connector and I'm a head of VNTR Club, a global infrastructure for capital, a trusted network where investors connect, co-invest, and access high-quality deal flow. At VNTR, we focus on building trusted relationships between people who actively deploy capital. And today's conversation, it's exactly inside that world. Today, I'm joined by Dawn Perdew, a serial entrepreneur with multiple exits, an investor with over 50 investments across the last 17 years, and someone who has operated at the highest level of business, managing billions in marketing spend and scaling companies across multiple industries. Today, she invests across both early stage and late stage opportunities, including some of the most advanced companies in AI and human robotics. She also brings a unique perspective as a board member and advisor to $100 million plus companies. And importantly, she is also an active member at VNTR, contributing to the ecosystem and bringing a high-level investors and helping shape the community itself. Dawn, I'm really excited to have you here. And
Thank
you
you.
spent, the decades building and scaling companies. And now you're actively allocating capital across different stages and sectors. So
Yes, correct.
when you look at a business today, what do you see first that others don't?
That others don't. Good question. I think I'm not emotionally I'm not emotionally tied to any one company. What I am tied to is first the financials and product market fit. And I say that, and I think a lot of people would say that too. But when you say the financials, what is the margins? What is the projections? Does this have actual runway, or is it just picnic table startup? Which is not a bad thing, but you have to really understand what you're getting into. So I really look at just the financials and the product market fit. In ones that already have a path to profit and they have some orders coming through, that is a lot easier to analyze. So I quickly, decide, well, is it just an idea, or is it actually have legs to it? And the next would be like the leadership. The leadership is super important. When you have a first-time entrepreneur, that's a harder one to invest in than a successful entrepreneur that has sold to like Google or Microsoft or Nvidia. I mean, those are really important things. And so those are where I'm at. And then I look at really where the market is. When I say the market is, who are their competitors? What is their go-to-market? A lot of them don't have a solid go-to-market plan. And then is there a possibility for this to become a unicorn, a billion-dollar idea? That you'd be surprised what the pitch decks look like. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. And you have, you build like loads of things, as an operator as well. And this switch, what changed for you when you moved from building companies to allocating
Yeah.
capital?
Yeah. So I think, well, you stumble along the way, just to be very honest. There's just certain companies you see and you're like, that's a no-brainer. Like you
Mhm.
want, this is like even when I was running the last company, I would actually defray, like, don't pay me cash, pay me in equity, or pay me 50% cash, 50%, because I really truly
Mhm.
believed that they would get to that next level based on the leadership,
Mhm.
the product market fit, right? And then again, seeing as many products and working with as many clients, I mean, thousands of clients I have, you just kind of understand, is this really going to scale or not? Now, there are industries that I know nothing about. I don't know anything about defense. I'm not
Mhm.
into humanoid robots, but I know humanoid robots logistically make sense, especially where my background was in e-commerce end to end. So when you have Amazon that has 750,000 robots in their
Mhm.
factories doing fulfillment, that's a no-brainer for me. It really comes down to what type of robotics are, what are they performing, right? And what, again, down to the, with leadership. So it was really easy to pivot. Where the hard part was is I sometimes fall in love with these companies and then I want to help them operate. And so I really have to actually just keep my investor hat on, um,
Mhm.
and take a step back. There are instances where I would be open to actually serving on the board as an advisor or a board member. Those are things I'm considering, but at this moment, it's really just the investing side.
How, being a woman, we're emotional, like generally, and you just mentioned, sometimes you see the
Yeah,
idea and you're like, oh, just, have this like good, like gut feeling, like you love it. And
yeah.
how do you actually, like you stopping yourself from that and just, looking into the
Um,
numbers on how are
yeah,
you,
yeah.
where is this border?
So I think being in direct consumer e-commerce for over 20 years, you look at so many products and so many opportunities, and then the consumers will tell us, do they like it? Do they want to buy it? Will they buy it? Will they buy it again?
Hmm.
So you quickly become much less emotional and much more data driven. So I would say, even though I have served so many marketing roles, I'm a data driven, performance driven mindset.
Hmm.
So it's just, it's just math. So for me, it's very easy. And I was always in boardrooms and meetings with majority men. So
Hmm.
it's like, I have this underdog, unfair bent, or like I want to help the females. So, and however I can help them. So I definitely have a slant to wanting to help women, female entrepreneurs and executives. It's a
Yeah,
kindred
we
spirit.
will we will move to subject of woman like later
Yeah.
as well, and it's
Yeah.
going to be a really interesting one. But before that, let me ask you, then you see the company like in a pitch, what is for you immediate no?
Oh, immediate no is there's no product market fit and the margins aren't there. There has to be
Mm-hmm.
margins and there's no product where's the demand? It starts with demand and then it follows with the margins themselves, meaning are they healthy margins? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
operating at 10% is not interesting at all whatsoever. And then what do they want the money for? And then what will be the time horizon and estimated, value that when will I receive the money back is always the
Uh-huh.
conversation. I'm giving you the answers in my how my mind thinks, and then the leadership, of course. Like, is this person actually capable? There are leaders that I meet that I know are not capable of taking their company to $1 billion. And I'm like, and there's leaders I meet that, say everything, but they're first time entrepreneurs. So that is a risk in and of itself. So it's like the risk reward has to have it. It's in your head. I don't have a decision tree like in my head. I don't have that. I don't have a rubric. A lot of people have rubrics. I should build rubric.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, did I answer your question?
Yes, yes, thank you. And sorry, you're saying about leader. Some people are great, on when they pitch you. But actually, how do you actually check these leadership skills? What factors do you look
Um,
at, and who do you invest? Is it founders who you know for a long time, or they came to you through like trusted networks?
yeah,
Or how you identify? It's easy to say like, yeah, I invest, in the leadership skills, but
yeah,
how do you
yeah.
actually check
I,
them?
I actually really look at their roles and titles. I first go to LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see who they know, who I'm friends with, or, first level connection, second level connection. And then I'll reach out and be like, hey, what was your working experience with this person? Like, I'm going to ask for, and specifically through my network, I would ask. And
Mm-hmm.
if I don't have either of the above, then I will ask reference checks. But reference
Yeah.
checks, everyone's going to always give a good reference check. So, and then from a leadership perspective, how large of teams have they led before? There's certain websites online that you can see and learn about a leader specifically that they said, well, that's my dog, sorry, that you can find out about. You can post positive or negative reviews about a leader. So I look at that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not totally reliable, but it's something, but it's really more through my network and through friends of friends that I'll find out about somebody.
Social capital and trust is now everything, I think,
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
reputation, it's all
I
connected.
mean, I look at myself. I don't spend any time managing my reputation online with LinkedIn or even my social media, but I have enough people that know me that said she's the real deal. So I really think that if there's anything I would say to somebody that is looking to get investment capital, that they should spend a lot of time posting and promoting and building relationships with people that can really open doors for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And talking about market and future, as far as I know from the, conversation before, you're focusing on AI and humanoid and robotics.
Yeah.
So, what do you see coming in that
Uh,
sector that most people still underestimate?
I see a huge army of humanoid robots taking over. Just to be honest, I think everybody wants a humanoid robot in their house. God knows I'm doing laundry, and we do laundry every day. We're doing dishes every day. We're cooking dinners every day. So if we can make our everyday life easier, but from a business standpoint, more importantly, is that there are tasks that humanoid robots can do, and that even robots can do, not just humanoids can do better, faster, cheaper
Mhm.
than actual factory workers. So I feel like um, there's a limitless demand for robotics in terms of to perform tasks coming down in the future. And so we should take advantage of it. So I think that way. And I want to just go into AI. I think that AI, and all of us use AI at this stage, or I hope all of us use AI. I look at the trends and they're just tremendous on so many levels. Like, did you know that 20% of traffic that now goes to Amazon is from LLMs? So that's just the start. We're just at the start of this. And
Yeah.
that's the search traffic, people who are looking to buy things. That's just the active in-market shopper. So I look as a marketer, I'm like, oh my goodness, I think every product manufacturer has to have an LLM strategy because it's really where it's at. And then the change, even my children, that I have two young children that are 16, and it's hard to think about them even going to college, to be honest. I want them to learn skills. I'm an entrepreneur, and so I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years. So I feel like AI is going to change the children's future. So we need to be prepared for it.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about children,
Yeah.
you build companies and you have a three kids, and I know your oldest one
Yes.
is building his
Oh,
own company.
so proud of him. So I'm proud
So
of all. I'm proud of all of them.
so how
Yeah.
do you think the next generation understands like what do you think the next generation understand differently
Yeah.
about like business and investments?
Yeah. So I'll go a little bit long here because I think it's important. Like, I look at my oldest who just turned 26, and him and his two partners sold their last company, NGL, for 55 million US dollars. That's
Wow.
incredible. And he started that company at 22, 23. So that's it. I mean, and he dropped out of college. He's like, college is not for me, Mom. I'm so bored. I can't talk to professors for the enterprise and entrepreneurship class when they're not entrepreneurs themselves, like
Mm-hmm.
successful. So it was really challenging for me and in terms of a paradigm because I was very much set on you've got to go to college. And he's like, nope, I'm going to be like you, Mom. Because I went to 1 year college. So and I went to Northwestern, great school, but I went to 1 year college and I really wanted to do other things. Anyway, the point is I look at these children now and I look at what he's learned and now he's built his second company and that one is now, oh my goodness, it's the number three, depending on the day, crypto trading app in the world.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, and it's called bags.fm. So I'm super, super proud of him. And he's far more successful than I was, and I was successful, but he's far more successful. I'm super proud of him. But I
Wow.
look at him and he's like, Mom, for his brother and sister, he's like, Mom, I really just want my brother and sister to learn what I've learned. I watched you, I've innovate and now we're innovating and it's gonna be a different world when they turn 18. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I feel like that the kids, the whole paradigm of go to college, get a job, I think that paradigm has changed. And I think that our job is to prepare them. And so, for example, my twins, the 16-year-old twins, they took a weekend boot camp on building AI agents. I think that we should have them know those skills. And I actually took that class, but I want to take it again because I didn't learn enough. So I feel like we need to teach the kids to make critical decisions in their mind, how to do that. And then they need to learn actual skills on how to leverage these agents. I think that's the greatest careers that are going to grow in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'm 100% like on you and that subject. And I also really love about VNTR that we have
Yeah.
legacy programming, where we can,
Yes. It was,
pass, our experience to like
yeah.
the next generation. And it's,
The legacy program, the first one that happened was last month with Igor. It was
Mhm.
incredible. I had both the twins there, and they were there for 2 hours. They were learning from Igor. I mean, he has 600 million under management, 400 investments, like really smart person that you would want your children to listen to learn from.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
you should be like the next one, on the
I
legacy
am.
program.
I'm
I
the
hope
next one.
we already
It,
planned some activation in that part
April
with you.
30th, April 30th is my date. That's my date. So I'll be there April 30th.
Okay, okay, yeah, and I'm glad that legacy it's one of our, core pillars inside VNTR because it is like really important subject, especially
Yeah.
with all the changes in the world now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now let's move to the female subject. So
Yeah.
throughout your career, you were often one, as you mentioned, like now at the beginning of our conversation. So you were often one, just like only one woman on their,
Yeah.
boardrooms. So has
Yeah.
it changed today?
I would like to say it's a little better, but it depends on the industry. If you're talking about probably construction or tech, mostly men. S One female in the room and the executive, maybe two females. So I think it's better, but I think we have if you're talking about venture capital or private equity,
Mm-hmm.
that's still dominated by men. If you're talking about real estate or marketing, that
Mm-hmm.
is a much more level playing field. So I think it's industry specific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish it was more.
Yeah, and but for the woman stepping into investment today, especially like venture investment, do they actually have a space where they can openly discuss like capital, deal flow, decisions with peers at the same
Yeah.
level?
I would like that, which is what we're going to do with VNTR in terms of creating that forum. There are some of those in parts of Europe, like in London, there's, I think, one event. In the US, there's three or four, like in California and Texas and in New York. So there are like pocket events. Um, I would courage, and I would absolutely spend time, volunteer time to help building that out. I think that's a super important pillar. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also a lot of women that don't even know basic investing. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where a CFP, a certified financial planner, comes in to say, well, at what point do you decide that you should invest in venture capital? Because it's not right for everybody. At what point is private equity right? At what point is crypto right? So there's needs to be some type of basic education for women, not just for
Mm-hmm.
more advanced investors.
Yeah, and before we're gonna move to the woman part, like let's a
Mhm.
little bit, I'll ask you a few questions about your experience in VNTR. So,
Yes,
and I think this is where something important comes in because you're not just investing, you're also like active member with VNTR. So,
yes.
what made you decide to join VNTR?
Uh, it's a really good story. And I'll tell you that because I went to 1 year of events, which Yuri was very patient with me. And I say that because I really wanted to understand what the community was like. Joining a community is a very important decision. It's not like joining a country club because you're talking about sensitive things. You're talking about your money. You're talking about relinquishing and investing in cap, getting your putting your capital to work for you. And so there has to be a big trust built. Very different than just playing paddle with somebody or playing tennis or golf around a golf. So I spent a good year. I was introduced to Yuri, and it was around the Web Summit event in Lisbon. And then I went to the morning breakfast, and the breakfast had sometimes 40, 50, 60 people. And every time I went, there was one or two or three people, and then it became 5 or 10 people, and then the people were the community is very important. And so I really fell in love with the community, and I really fell in love with Yuri and understood the vision that Yuri has. And then I became like, okay, how can I help? Who can I,
Mm-hmm.
because it is about the community and it is about deal flow, and it is about helping one another. And it takes a village. It does. And so I'm fully bought in. I recommend VNTR to all my friends that are qualified because a lot of people aren't qualified to join. You have to
Yeah.
be an active investor and you have to have a certain amount of capital ready to deploy. But I really liked every part of it. Yeah, I'm
Thank
like
you.
big thumbs
Yeah,
up.
thank you.
Yeah,
And let me ask you this question.
yeah,
So you contribute like a lot. Yeah, you bring in people, I can see, I can feel, and I see
yeah,
results. You are definitely like actively participating in the community. And this is actually the
yeah,
great way also to get from the community. So it's about this like energy flow. The
yeah,
more you give, the more you get. And what
yeah.
do you personally get from being inside the NTR Club?
A lot. So I'll start with I get to look at, like, last week we had the investor roundtable, and there was one deal that was pretty interesting. It was like an annual 16% return, and it was really just investment in Romania. And
Mm-hmm.
almost all of my investment, like 98%, 99%, are in US markets.
Mm-hmm.
We only have the golden visa investment, which was in order for us to become Portuguese citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really interesting. And then I had another one that, again, a week earlier, that was actually options. It was investment in options, calls and puts, in cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum. And my first career was trading stock options. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that about me. I love math. I love the math, the logistical sense of it, the volatility and the indexes and
Mm-hmm.
understanding options portfolio. So I was like, wait a minute, this is a great opportunity because I can get involved in more crypto and I'm in options, which I really understand. And so I can then trade that. And then other platforms I've learned about, like one's called public.com. I recommend that. And I've brought that to the group saying we really, because you can actually look at all of your investments in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Not your private market investments. Like, for example, your money that you have with each of the different family offices, and then your money you have in crypto, and then your money you have like in Ethereum and things like that. You can look at it in one place. So I like
Mm-hmm.
that. Anyway, those were really important to me. And then in terms of just networking, I've met like just, I mean, there was a women's event this week, the Blooming Women's Blooming event, and that was just a phenomenal event for women.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend of mine is an artist, and she showed her art at she had a gallery showing at the Vinter House, which was beautiful. So it's not just a bunch of guys and finance. It's there's a variety here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
And you also invite lots of people to VNTR. So
yes,
then you invite people to VNTR. So who do you think it's, on your opinion, who is the right person to join VNTR? Like what
yeah,
like values, qualities they should have to be in the same
yeah,
room with you and with
yeah.
all other members?
Yeah, I think number one is intellectually curious. You know, a lot of people as they get older, they sit in their chair too much and watch too much television, and they lose their intellectual curiosity. So I think it attracts a person that's intellectually curious that wants to learn about other things, and then also someone that actually really sees benefit in learning different investment strategies and different opportunities. So I think that's and it's also someone that actually really can appreciate the value of community. You know, we all have our circles of friends, but it's a whole new circle of friends that share similar values. In the community, you know, 80-90% of them are parents. So we're talking about challenges we have with our kids, which is why the legacy event makes so much
Yeah.
sense. Um, and you know, for people that are new, like if you look at people who've recently moved to Portugal or recently moved to Dubai, you're building a whole new network and a community of other parents and other friends that will become your friends if it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Super. And very many networks out there, now,
yes,
communities, clubs. I've been in that field like for more than 13 years,
yeah,
scaling like lots of global clubs, communities in
yeah,
absolutely different fields.
yeah.
What feels different about VNTR for you?
Uh, it's authentic. It's not sledging you over the hammer with like pitch, 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 pitch. There's not a lot of pitch decks, not a lot of pitching. It's our salespeople like swarming around. Um, it does feel like a YPO. It feels like YPO. It feels like um, it definitely feels like YPO, and it feels like a Soho House kind of feel because but yet it's small enough to where it still feels intimate. Where Soho
Mhm.
House Miami, when you visit, or Soho House Austin, or even Soho House New York or LA, it just has become more of like almost a restaurant in a way.
Mhm.
I like the curated events. I like that they're smaller. There's not like 200 people. There's probably 30 to 50, which feels more reasonable. And some of the events only have 10 people, which is still fine for me. So the
Mhm.
intimacy and the authenticity, everyone's is leaning in.
Yeah.
It's not a
Agree.
place for you if you don't want to socialize and don't want to meet new people from different backgrounds. That's again, like I said, you have to want to meet new people and learn new things.
Yeah, agree with you. So
Yeah,
let's move now to a female blog, which is like really, really special to me as, that was like my initiative that, Olga, head of a club experience, like supported. And
yeah.
I'm really, first of all, like big thank you for, saying yes and like jumping and like into it and
Sure,
supporting it. So
sure.
what made you say yes to being part of this?
Yeah. So, first and foremost, I am a champion for women. And I'm a champion for women because not just that I am a woman, but I've lived in the corporate world and in the boardroom and in many executive meetings, C-suite, you know, board reviews, etc. And it's still dominated by men. And so if I can help women, if I could teach, if I can share my stories and share my journey and my mission, then I believe I've accomplished what I need to accomplish. It isn't about the money at all. It's about helping other women, and that is at my core. It's how can I help women, and that is by after I sold my last business, and then we took that company to a unicorn status in 2022. At the end of 2022, it really was you take a like a rewiring and you take a break for the first time and you're just like I really just centered in on I love helping women. And I don't want to help every single woman because they have to want to help themselves. So it's a
Yeah,
little bit of tough
yeah,
love, to be honest. But if they're eager, if they're committed, if they demonstrate grit in the very first few meetings, then I'm here to help female entrepreneurs. That's what I like to do.
yeah. Thank you. And I really like your comments about that. They need to be wanted to like to get help.
Well,
This is like
they could sit
100%.
there and complain. There's not enough women. We don't make enough pay. Like, that's like an old song. It's like on repeat. I'm more like, how do you move it forward? And
Yeah,
what are your plans to move it forward? And I'm more about, I'll give you assignments and then you come back to me with those assignments completed, not like a teacher or like I'm above it, but it's more like I want to see what you've put together and then let's review that and collaborate as a team. And then how do we get to the next level? So I get asked all the time for help, but I think that there's a yardstick or there's things that they need to do in order to get more of my time. um,
hmm,
because I only have time is the most precious resource, and I don't want to give it to somebody who does not deliver or perform and just complains.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mindset is everything. And
Yes.
yeah, also, I was surprised, how much support we receive when initiating like this event from the club members, even the one who
Yeah.
wasn't active, they're like, wow, female shaping the future of capital, we are in. And let's talk a little bit about format because we had, the separate, call, we discuss like how we're gonna do it. So we are
Yeah.
intentionally designed this as a like a curated peer-to-peer space, so it's not a traditional panel or a conference.
Exactly.
So why does this format matter?
Yeah. So first of all, this is not a spray and pray approach at all. This is much more about curating rooms, I would call them chat rooms, with a limited number of women so there can actually be meaningful dialogue, meaning back and forth questions and conversation. So this is much more of I would call a workshop than anything
Mm-hmm.
else versus just a speaker, speaking at you and sharing their story. I want people to walk away with what they learned and what they can take away specifically relating to investments and the marketplace and what areas to focus on and how to look at your portfolio and your next investment. I really want to give them a blueprint. That's how I look at this. It's like a workshop with a blueprint. It is not show up and listen to a talking head.
Yeah.
And women like to talk. We need to have space and time. So we're not going to rush it. Yes, we have a specific allocation of time, but we want to make sure that the questions are addressed and we have time to let the conversation breathe.
Yeah. And let me share a little bit of the format of the event as well. So it's going to be,
Yeah.
as we discussed, it's going to be 2 hours event with
Yes.
welcome part, which I'm going to open the forum. Then like with you
Yeah.
and Jillian, we're going to have the speaking slots, and then we're going to have a curated rooms with different like interesting subjects that you can see in the
Yeah.
event description. Who is watching us now? And
Yeah.
also, it's going to be the live, like curated, like rooms communication. So it's
Yeah.
not going to be just speaker speaking. And I think this is going to be really interesting. I already got a great facilitators also for each room as well to make it
Yeah.
even more productive. So I'm like
So
really, yeah,
yeah,
really
I'm
excited.
really excited about it. I really am. I think that this is the first one. This will be our
Yeah.
first one. and then we'll just continue to iterate and improve as and evolve like women do naturally. We'll do the same thing with this event.
Yeah. And what do you think about like outcome? So if someone like join like the room, join event, join in this event, or planning to join the event, what should they walk away with?
I think I would call that the keys to success. And I say that meaning the keys, if you're, again, we have different people that we're speaking to, but first and foremost, if you're going to invest, if you have this dollar amount to invest in the market, how should you allocate it? We're not investment advisors, but I think a certified financial planner will giving you advice. When is it time to invest in do a startup investment? When is it right to invest in private equity? When is it right to invest in venture capital? That'd be like one talk track, for example, that we want that type of person to know. And then if someone's already mature in venture capital, then is how do you find your next deals, especially with AI? How do you find more deals? Because that's the hardest part is deal flow, right? And then the next would be like, how do you decide and judge and determine what's a worthwhile investment to make? And again, it's going to be how much capital do you want to risk? There's a formula of 50 investments to get to, a couple, 50 private market investments, get to
Mhm.
a couple winners. And yes, you're going to have a bunch of losers. So there's a formula to that. We want to share that formula. And then I think that is what are the sectors? There are sectors that won't be interrupted by AI just yet, like construction and real estate. So like what are those sectors that we should be thinking about investing in that will be impacted by AI and ones that won't necessarily be impacted by AI just yet. So what are those
Mhm.
sectors? Um, there's more than that, but those are the kind of we need to be able to talk to the different people where they're at in their journey. We'll have folks that are in venture capital, actively investing and deploying dollars. We'll have people that are certified financial planners. We'll have people that are active in investing in private equity. We'll have people that are investing in crypto. I think these are really important topics. And again, the audience will tell us how we reshape the next event.
Yeah, yeah. And who should definitely be at that event?
Oh my goodness. I would say people that are ready to invest money get their capital to work for them. So we're not looking for someone who doesn't have any capital.
Hmm.
So people have, at least 100,000 to invest. I would say, ideally more. But where do you put your first dollars? Or if they have 500,000 to invest, how would you put to work your first dollars? And then so I would say people that are, and then the ones that are more further along, what deals are they looking at? What sectors are they looking at? How do we find the next deals? So I feel like it's a wide ranging, it's young people that are successful that have capital that they want to put in the market. And then it's older, more mature folks like myself that are looking for the next where they want to put their next dollar.
Hmm.
So it's a age range is a wide age range, but it's all centered on people who have capital to invest. So if you don't have capital invest, then I don't think it makes sense for you to go.
Yeah, agree. And also I'm like super excited, to see because of the like the variety of geography who gonna join this event.
Yeah,
Well, right now we're still, part of the event, but we do have like plenty of registration from
yeah,
all different like
yeah,
geographic from all different countries. So it's definitely gonna be great,
yeah,
connection and expansion,
yeah,
for the network for like everyone. And also it's a great opportunity for someone who doesn't know about VNTR also to meet
yeah,
some of our existing members and to feel more if they align in the values, and maybe someone will get opportunity to join VNTR as well,
yeah. Well,
join
that's
our
I
big
think that's
investor family.
I think that's important because what we're creating is a safe space for women
Yeah.
and a safe space for women to talk about finances, not talk about your emotions. Let's get right into the
Yeah.
finances and investing. Let's get that muscle flexing a lot more. And that starts with education and tips and how to identify the tools, like what tools do you use. So I feel like that is where we will focus our time. Uh, we don't need to focus on yoga. All of us love yoga. This is not what this event is. This event really is for people who really want to learn more about investing and how they can get their optimize their capital.
Yeah, agree with you.
Yeah.
And let me ask you the final question.
Okay.
The time is flying. So, if you look at the next 5 to 10 years, what role will women play in shaping global capital?
Wow. Well, I would hope, I'm going to say this, I want women to represent at least 40% of capital that's being invested and managed. I really think that's a goal. I don't think it's anywhere near that. Again, it depends on the country. I think US is much further along than other countries. I think, England's much further along than others. So I would love it if we can get to that stat. I would love to see 40% and I say this, 40% of boards have female representation on the board, whether that be advisory or official board member. I like to see 40%, again, very aggressive, be in the executive level, a senior leadership position in venture capital and private equity. These are
Mhm.
horizons that are not, and in crypto as well. I don't mean to not say crypto, but I think crypto is part of this equation as well.
Mhm.
So I mean, 40% may sound aggressive, but I certainly would, I think we would fail if it's at 10%.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for your answers. And Dawn, thank you so much for your
absolutely.
time. That was a
Yeah,
powerful and really, nice conversation. And
yeah,
for those watching, if you're actively investing or stepping into capital and you feel like you should be in conversations like this, you can apply to join Women Shaping the Future of Capital event or VNTR ecosystem. The link gonna be here. You can find it. And this is a curated room, and every application is reviewed because the quality of the people in the room
mhm,
defines the value of the conversations. So
exactly.
thank you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you inside.
Thank you.